50 minutes, starting now.
Hello guys and welcome back. If you haven't been following this project so far, then today you're going to find out a little bit more. I would definitely recommend going and checking out last week's, as we're going to be continuing on with the Pineapple Man project. Again, it's my first paid project, and it is for a fella that hopefully will be joining the chat today. But if you don't know who he is, he's Richard Nutt over on TikTok. If you haven't been checking out our TikToks, then definitely do so already. Definitely go do so. Follow over there and check us out. And you get to see most of this in a better format. But I've been keeping this one a little bit secret because, again, it's a paid project. And I want to kind of give you a reveal. So I haven't done every little piece on stream or on video. Well, I've done it on video. I've recorded all this, but you'll be seeing that one in a later date. But if you don't know who this character is, this is where we started. This is the illustration that, and he has actually joined us now. Hello, Sir Pineapple Man. If you didn't, that's also his name on YouTube. Richard Nutt over on TikTok. But yeah, this is the character that we started with. And I'm recording on the PS4 as well, but I'm not going to give in-depth things. It's just a bit by bit on the PlayStation. But yeah, if you didn't know that I record things, everything that I make, that either I'm drawing, making in polymer clay, and even in VR, I record every piece. Sometimes I give you an in-depth how-to. Sometimes I just show you how to make it and put a little bit of music over the top of it. So don't forget to tune in for those. If you don't want to watch a full live stream, again, guys, if you don't know who I am or what you're watching, my name's Blut084, BLUT084 Art and Games. I'm here every single Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for some live artwork, whether it's paper, polymer clay, or even VR. I don't tend to do the VR live, but sometimes I'll have a surprise stream that I'll be doing something live. We may be making this one out of polymer clay, but like I said, this is the first paid project, and this one here is where we got to last week. We got Mr. Pineapple to tell me each color, how he wanted it formed, where he wanted everything to be. And if you did miss that one, then you can go and check out on the live streams from last week. But yeah, we've got all the form. I used this picture, like I said to you, Sir Pineapple, first in chat, that I would get some of this done over the weekend, because I know I'll be back here live again on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays art projects. Thursdays is generally my day of editing, so I might upload something. Or either Mixer, well, not Mixer anymore because that is officially shut down, but from Twitch. As soon as I got that figured out, I'll get that posted over here for you. But yeah, we're going to be getting this made, and we started over the weekend. As you asked, you wanted him to have a what are they called? A cane. This will be coloured, obviously, but I put a little bit of silver paint on there, just to see what it looks like, because that's the last of my silver paint. I thought, I'll just see if I can sort of get this tip piece silver and maybe the handle, and then red down the cane part of it. But I'm not really deciding on that. But you can decide if you want to keep it silver or make it completely red. It was just an idea I thought I'd have to do over the weekend. And then we've gone and made the armature. This isn't the full body because we're going to be putting clothes on this one today. And there's the full arm, the full armature that made. Again, we haven't made the hands, we haven't really made the feet, we just made it so we balance, and but like a few little bits of where the clothing is going to be, because again, we're going to be doing the clothing today. And yeah, we wanted a little hat. I knew drawing it is a pain in the ass, but making it nice and easy. Nice little bowler hat there that you suggested for him to be holding. He'll be holding that in that hand. I'll get around when I get around to doing the hands. You'll see that come together. And of course, the big and main focal point of the whole thing of being a pineapple is the pineapple head. And I made that one, and didn't attach it because I want to attach it with the clothing. I wanted to make sure all the clothing was nicely on there, so I can get nicely balanced, because it's going to be freestanding with this cane. And yeah, we're going to be continuing on with this one today. I'm going to get I'm going to try and get all the clothing on here today, because I'll bake this overnight, and then tomorrow I'll get back and I'll give it the first coat. If I don't give it the first coat of paint off stream, then I'll give it the first coat of paint afterwards. I've given some of this already a coat of paint, as you can tell, but like this has got a fresh white paint over it. This has got fresh white paint over it. They left this as was because you don't need to, but I wanted to sort of start getting layers on as quickly as possible. What do you think of that head there, Mr. Pineapple Man? Because I can change it if needed. You can't really see it, but I'm not going to change too much of it because I kind of think it looks okay. But yeah, there's the pineapple head. It obviously looks better when it's coloured in yellow and green there. But hopefully you like the pose of the head. Let me know in the chat. And also let me know in the chat what you want to listen to today. Do you want to listen to another comic book? If you do, please let me know which hero or heroine you would like to listen to. Or you can choose an audiobook of your choosing, because else I'm going to have to spend another half an hour trying to find something. Or you can choose a genre of music to listen to while I get around to doing this, because I don't think I'm going to be doing too much talking today. I'm just going to be trying to get done as much as possible, as today is Monday, Tuesday, and tomorrow will be hopefully be doing some painting, and Thursday by Wednesday this project should hopefully be complete. Well, this project anyway. As you know, but or as my Pineapple Man knows, that I have made, or he asked me to make 2 other characters as well. I haven't finished painting them, but I have given them a fresh paint of white coat, same as I did for this, and I'll be doing that in the next couple of days, and they will be finished. If not today, then tomorrow. I won't show you fully and completely, because again, I don't know if I'm spoiling a surprise for Pineapple Sun. And talking about suns, if you didn't check out not last week, but the week before, I finished off making my Morning Skate. Morning Skate is my personal son, and he is also a streamer with me. He's already figured out Twitch, and yeah, he's already got a few Twitch streams up and about, but he's also got a YouTube channel. His name is Morning Skate 74 over there. But yeah, if you didn't check it out, you can go check out that in the live events, but there will be some edited versions as always, guys. I've edited those, put some music over them, and a little bit of an explanation, as I know I explain most things as I go on live here. But yes, Mr. Pineapple Man, what hero would you like to listen to so I can get some work done, mate? What would you like to listen to today? And we also have Artemis Craft. If you didn't know, she's the moderator of sorts for the chat, especially if I'm gaming and I want to take away my head. But I don't need to do any gaming today because I've got some stuff, and I'll be watching those chats as they come up. So yeah, welcome to Artemis Craft, and say hey to her. You want Thor again? You sure? You want to change it up a bit? You want to choose another one? Because we had Green Lantern to begin with, and now we had last week we had Thor. So maybe we'll maybe you want to think of something else. Any of your other favorite characters? Again, buddy, I do make a whole load of Thor's hammers, and they're all magnetic. So if you're interested in making them for yourself, or if you want to buy one, they are up on my shop as soon as the website is available, or Amazon starts to decide that yeah, you can start trading now. I've already got things in plan, but as Mr. Pineapple Man has already paid me in the way that I asked him to, we're getting things done. You want a bit of Hulk. Bit of Hulk. Right, okay. Any particular year of Hulk? Because there is so much of Hulk. We've got from Planet Hulk to one of the main stories from Hulk. What happened to Hulk? How Hulk lost his powers. And who the Hulk gave his powers to. If you didn't know that he's handed over the ability to turn into the Hulk to somebody else in the comics now. But if you want to find that out, we got to do is ask which one you want to see. We've even got, I'll give you a list of things that you can listen to. We've got, yeah, Planet Hulk, World Hulk. That's a big epic story. That's an hour and 40 minutes. But again, if you want to listen to the whole thing, you can listen to the whole thing, or you can watch it yourself. Again, it's Comic Storian that we're going to be listening to. And you've chosen, give his powers away. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you have obviously haven't been keeping up with many of the comics then. I definitely recommend going and check out Comic Storian. You'll find out a little bit of the totally awesome Hulk complete story in a minute. I don't know if it's going to give you the complete story, but you'll find out about that. And also about She-Hulk. She's changed up a little bit. She's gone from this sexy, intelligent Hulk creature, because she can't change back, to she can change she can change from her original normal form, like Bruce Banner, and changes into a dum-dum Hulk. So I don't know why they changed that, because I like the whole original character. But Marvel's having a bit of a switch up at the moment and looking for new ideas. And here's where they took the Hulk. I'm going to be getting on with some of this while you listen to the Hulk in the background. And yeah, we'll get back and on. If you don't know what clay we're going to be using Fimo clay. Fimo soft clay. It is the best clay to use if you want to try out. I'll give you more depth on how to use it and what to use it is, but there's the stuff I'm using, Fimo soft. Recommend getting a big pack, not so much the packs that are like that, but if you want to try and have a go, get yourself a little pack, see how you can do, and then buy yourself a larger pack like I've done. Right, so clothing. We've got a suit, we've got a tie, and then we've got a bow tie, we've got a suit to make, we've got a pair of trousers, pair of shoes, maybe some gloves, but they're just going to be basic hands, and a waistcoat. I could kind of get away with what I've done here with the waistcoat, but I probably won't. I'll probably put a waistcoat over there. So let's get going, guys. Let's get into it. Let's listen to some totally awesome Hulk complete story by Comic Storian.
This is in the all-new, all-different Marvel, where Banner isn't the Hulk, and there's a new, totally awesome Hulk. This takes place right after Secret Wars ends. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks in English, and then I break them down into just what I can help them understand. Then I read each back to you all alterations to the panel, sticks, and images, art to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Things begin with a tidal wave coming crashing down on a beach, as we see the spikes of some monster popping up from the waves. The beachgoers all begin to panic and run for safety, but over the radio, we hear a voice. Amadeus, it's time. Amadeus runs to the beach after eating a bunch of burgers, and the change begins. His feet begin to grow green. He gets larger, and then with a step, we see the ground shake. The Hulk has arrived, and he just smacked this monster, saving a woman and her child, knocking out the giant turtle. Everyone on the beach is stunned, and the Hulk turns to them. That was totally awesome, right? So cool. Just doing my job, folks. He then fist bumps the baby while he tries to hit on the woman he saved. A floating robot comes over near his head to inform him the monster isn't exactly knocked out. The monster grabs the Hulk by his foot and begins to slam him back on the ground, back and forth, over and over, and then begins to suck in some air, pulling the child towards it, so the Hulk begins to pluck the kid out of the sky, and he lobs him back to his mother before jumping in the path of the creature's fire breath. The robot then continues, Amadeus, you have to start listening. Why do you have to distract me as I'm saving civilians? The monster begins to suck in more air, and the Hulk begins to grab a propane tank, and he throws it into the monster's mouth. A surprised look.
Hey, Roblox, how you doing, buddy?
I'm just everywhere, uncontrollably.
We're listening to the new version of the Hulk while I make some more out of this on the clay. You didn't tune in last week. I think you did, but if you didn't, you can find out what we did and why we're making this in those videos.
He walks into his food truck that is being used for cover, and he hands the mini turtle back to his sister before putting on some new pants and eating a lot of food. Maddie Show explains that Amadeus can't lose control. That's what happened to Banner. Amadeus begins to grow mad, and he gets green, and he informs Maddie
what have you got, moderator, buddy?
Not Banner. So where is Banner?
Unfortunately,
it was 4 months ago when a building off the shore of Kenya was going up in flames. The smartest men in the world couldn't come up with an answer. It was an experimental fusion reactor, and Banner was useless. The Hulk wasn't. He jumped up offshore towards the reactor, and using his powers, he absorbed the energy that it was putting off, and he took it all inside. But it wasn't gamma radiation. It was something different, and with that, he collapsed. Stark and T'Challa contained him in some kind of device that began to reabsorb the radiation, keeping it contained. But it was too much, and the device began to crack, and the ocean began to boil. They tried to talk the Hulk down, but it wasn't working, and he was losing control of it. As things grew worse and worse, Amadeus Cho teleported into the lab to tell Stark and T'Challa that he has the answer. He starts throwing out answers that they've already tried, which irritates the both of them. Then the lab assistant tranquilizes Amadeus, knocking him out as they decide what their only plan is to teleport the Hulk into the negative zone and let him expel the energy somewhere else, somewhere that he can't come back from. Things begin to reach a breaking point, and just when they can't stop it from exploding and taking out the seaboard with no other options, they begin to say their goodbyes to the Hulk, to Banner, their friend. And that's when they notice Amadeus Cho has woken up and taken a power suit. All of this stuff before was a distraction so that he could try his real plan by faking being knocked down. He walks over to the Hulk and he takes his hands. He never wanted this, so maybe it's time to give it to someone who does. A surge of energy comes out of Amadeus, and a containment suit forms around the Hulk. As the energy surges between the two of them, the Hulk begins to change slowly and eventually back into Banner. Banner is crying. What have you done? Dude, it's okay. You don't have to worry any longer. You're free, Bruce. So don't cry. Ah, kid, I'm not crying for me. At that moment, Amadeus begins to feel the gamma radiation, and the anger, and the change taking hold. He is the new Hulk. Amadeus remembers this came out of Banner losing control, and he doesn't want to let that happen to him. 2 days later, another monster is attacking New Zealand. The monster shouts, "Nash, Nash!" And the Hulk leaps in, and Hulk smash! She-Hulk is already there. She turns to him. Really? Then they both punch the monsters, knocking them out, and Spider-Man walks over, hitting them. And stay down! Spider-Man and She-Hulk look at the new Hulk. So you're the new guy? Yeah. What you think? She-Hulk steps up. I hear you've been running around like a crazy person, not checking in with the Avengers or S.H.I.E.L.D. or anyone. So not much. He leans over to Maddie's robot. She sounds like she's 40. And then the Hulk is hit by a mace and a woman calling herself Lady Hellbender. The Hulk gets back up and he informs Lady Hellbender that since she is a lady, he will not hit her. And then her pet bites down on the Hulk and lifts him off the ground, throwing him around. Maddie flies in, drowning the pet in foam. But then Lady Hellbender jumps on the roof of Maddie's craft, tearing it apart. Spider-Man and She-Hulk whip onto the flying craft, moving towards Hellbender as the Hulk is getting madder and madder. Maddie is in trouble! He jumps onto the craft, slamming Hellbender back down to the earth, and then seemingly losing control, he jumps back down, ready to fight. He hits the ground hard, and Spider-Man kicks him in the back of the head. Hold up, man! The Hulk grabs Spider-Man by the head, but then Spidey points out that Maddie is fine. So the Hulk begins to calm down, and he shrinks back down to Amadeus. Hellbender understands now. The Hulk is a shapeshifter. She then explains that she's been hunting these creatures to bring them back to the sanctuary where they can roam free. Maddie starts telling Amadeus to Hulk back up, but he tells her that he lost control. He needs to calm down. But Maddie insists. Then the Lord of all monsters rises. Bing, bang, boom! Hellbender loads her ship up to battle, and the Hulk jumps on board, telling Maddie she's right. He took the job. She-Hulk calls up the Avengers. The new Hulk has gone rogue and joined up with an alien queen from Sheepnarth 9. Except her phone won't work because Maddie blocked it. Sorry, but the Avengers don't have a good history with working with the Hulk. Hellbender gets out her weapon and she takes aim at Bing Bang Boom because she doesn't trust this new Hulk. The records indicate that the old Hulk was the strongest in the Ridge, but this new Hulk hasn't proven anything. So Hulk asks what the ship is made out of and decides that he's going to show her just how strong this Hulk is. He jumps straight down into Bing Bang Boom's mouth, and then he grabs Bing Bang's tongue and he jumps out of his mouth, punching him in the head. He then sees a civilian ship in trouble and wanting to help them, he gets distracted. So Bing Bang hits him hard. He falls underwater and realizing that the ship is sinking near him, he decides to save it because he's the best Hulk that there is. He throws himself upwards towards the ship, pushing it out of the water and saving them. But while this is going on, Bing Bang has moved to the shore of Hawaii, where he is now terrorizing the civilians there. The Hulk jumps in, taking a swing at Foom, but Foom knocks him back easily. Thinking fast, the Hulk grabs a container of foam and shoves it into Bing Bang's mouth, foaming them all up. Then the Hulk hits him with everything he has, dropping the monster, followed by posing on the defeated beast. Hellbender walks over. So you were right, you are the world's strongest monster. And she fires a trank into the Hulk's back, knocking him out. She pulls the Hulk onto her ship, her greatest catch ever. And then Maddie flies the food truck over to the spaceship with everyone on board. And they watch using the robot, Hellbender kissing Hulk. Everyone cringes as they watch. Realizing that they are chasing her, Hellbender begins dropping her captured monsters onto the planet, telling Hulk that she has him now. She doesn't need the others. As the Hulk wakes up, he breaks out of the chains with ease, and then he pulls the drink pad off before jumping back down to Earth to begin fighting with all of the monsters that she dropped. Hellbender looks down at him falling. Well, where's the fun in that? Hulk, She-Hulk, and Spider-Man all begin fighting it out with the big monsters, but there's way too many of them. Too many for the Hulk to fight until Amadeus finally lets go. He stops trying to hold back, and he unleashes the Hulk. In a single punch, he drops a monster, but he almost sinks the entire North Shore. She-Hulk dives in, telling him to calm down. If he wants to prove he's different, just do it. Calm down. So the Hulk thinks about it. He grabs a pole and he tells Shulky to move. Shulky, and then the Hulk hits them all with an electrical pole, shocking all of the monsters. Hellbender then lands her ship, and the Hulk tells her that he isn't going with her. So she walks down to him, giving him another surprising kiss, and tells him to call her once he's willing to admit who he is. Spidey then turns to Hulk. You got her number, right? Spidey! I kid. But seriously, you got her number, right? She-Hulk takes all of the shrunken monsters back to base and leaves the new Hulk and his sister to do their job, while Spider-Man is serving kimchi ramen. Thus, the new Hulk is ready for his adventures. Make sure you check out issue 5 if you want to see where the new Hulk adventures go. Personally, I'm loving this new take on the Hulk. Don't worry, we're about to start telling you some of the older Bruce Banner stories in rapid succession on the weekends. I'm Eddie the Comic Historian. If you want to chat about this video or any others, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at Comic Historian, on Instagram at Comic Historian, and if you want video game comic books, go check out our video game channel, Eligible Monster. I'll see you guys next time right here or right now over there.
You got another story from the
What
new
if
Hulk?
someone were able to control the new totally awesome Hulk?
Yes, there you
Welcome
go.
to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues, and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read it dramatically back to you, all alterations, the panels, text, and images, art,
not on
and
with it.
copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies.
Making his arms
Amadeus
now.
shows currently the totally awesome Hulk. He took the ability to change into the Hulk away from Bruce Banner, making himself the new Hulk. Last time we learned that he was still having problems keeping it under control, and now it's time for the next story arc. It was 3 years ago that Amadeus' life changed. There was an explosion, and he lost his family. Everyone except Maddie. But as he continues to think about what happened that day, he begins to wake up and he discovers that he's laying on the edge of a cliff. He has no idea how he got there. Above him, his sister Maddie flies down with her flying food truck, the one that they use as their base, asking what happened. He hulked out in the middle of the night and he ran off. Amadeus tells her that he's not sure, but no one got hurt, right? She tells him no one did. The problem is that it appears that somebody else was controlling him because he was acting really weird and they need to figure out who it is. Maddie begins to run various tests with combat robots trying to make Amadeus angry. She even shoots him in the face and down below. And that's when they discover that Amadeus is still in control. So she suggests that maybe they should go talk to Tony Stark. But Amadeus reminds her that Tony wanted to send Bruce Banner to the negative zone before he found a way to take all of the gamma radiation away. She then suggests that maybe they should go talk to Banner himself. And Amadeus once again reminds her that he freed Banner from this. He will not bring it back to him. And Maddie goes on to state that Banner's Hulk referred to him as Puny Banner. So maybe this makes Amadeus angry and he changes into the Hulk, telling her that he is not Banner. He is in control. She is supposed to be on his side. Amadeus then begins to storm off, and as he goes, Maddie tells him that she is on his side. It's the other guys that she's worried about. As Amadeus walks off on his own, he begins to notice coyote pups are whining after seeing their mother struck by a car. He reaches down to pet them, and they begin to whine even louder. Amadeus turns around to see a green light, and then he sees Amora, the enchantress before him. Amora tells him that she is here for him. She knows that the Hulk is an outcast, and if he would come with her, she can make him the king of the 10 realms. He tells her that being king is kind of hard work, with all of the being hated, feared, and rejected stuff, so he's going to stay right here. She then tries to anger him, trying to provoke him to release the other Hulk, but Amadeus still defies her. Amora then begins to create giant golems, and Amadeus begins to change into the Hulk and take them out. But her target was not him. Her target was the puppies. One of the golems begins to attack the puppies, and this sends Amadeus off into a blind rage. He begins to destroy the golems, and then he stands before Amora, and she asks him if he's ready now, and the Hulk smiles and laughs. And then Amora hands out her hand. Later, Amadeus wakes up in the middle of the street with Maddie calling out to him. And Maddie asks him what's going on, and Amadeus tells her it was the enchantress. She made him mad. Before Amadeus can explain any further, though, a crack of lightning strikes before them, and then the mighty Thor descends upon them. She tells them, please continue. She would love to hear about how the enchantress plans to conquer Asgard. Amadeus asks her, wait, what? And Thor tells him that he has joined with Amora's schemes against Asgard. He even has her love bite. Amadeus tells her that he can't remember anything, and he sure does wish that he remembers what this love bite came from. Thor then tosses Amadeus across a field, telling him, fine, she will talk to the one who would remember. And then in the field, Amadeus stands up as the Hulk. But he's still acting like Amadeus. Thor begins to beat on him repeatedly, trying to get him mad enough to change into the other Hulk, the one that works for Amora. But Maddie runs up, telling her to stop, telling her that this is the new Hulk. He's a superhero. So if he did work with Amora, then there must have been a reason. Amadeus agrees. He just needs to remember. Thor tells Amadeus that maybe his memory will return if she takes him to see the damage that he caused. So the three of them head over to the Dwarven outpost in Iceland, where the leader explains to Hulk that he came here and took their Ura. Ooh, who? Amadeus asks. The leader goes on to tell him that Ura is a precious mineral used to forge Mjolnir and create all of the Asgardians' greatest weapons. Amadeus then turns to the dwarves and tells them that he may not remember what he did, but he is sorry for what he's done, and he will get their mineral back. All Maddie has to do is scan for the minerals in Mjolnir, and they should be able to locate Amora. But in another part of Iceland, Amora watches as the Dark Elves continue to work on their new weapons. And soon, Amadeus and Thor come crashing into the cave with them. Amora looks back and states that she was wondering where her monster ran off to. Is he back to claim his throne? Amadeus tells her that he will never be her king. And Amora tells him, fine, then they will just have a little battle and see what his better half has to say. The battle begins with Thor and Amadeus quickly getting overrun with these new weapons, and Thor tells Amadeus that they need to retreat. But as they try to run away, Thor notices Amadeus changing back into a human, and he asks, what? You said retreat! As they're running, they notice Maddie climbing down into this cave, and Thor tries to go and fight off the oncoming elves. As Maddie gets down, she asks Amadeus why he's not the Hulk, and he tells her that he's worried that Amora will cast her spell again if he blacks out. Maddie then asks, what is it? What is it that's making you black out? And Amadeus tells her, it's when he thinks about their parents being killed and how it's all his fault. He knows that Maddie hates him for it. Maddie tells him, yes, she is mad, but that is their business, not Amora's. So go on, get mad. Just be mad at her. Amadeus begins to change into the Hulk, and he begins to shout! And Amora says that it looks like the monster that she knows. Now come and claim your weapon. Hulk steps up, and he takes the giant battle axe, and he begins to laugh. And then he turns and slams it down, hitting the Dark Elves, destroying the weapons that they just made. He then steps up. Amora tries to call him an ingrate, and Maddie tases her, telling her to shut up. Thor tells him that it seems like he did it, and she'll be taking that axe now. Amadeus asks if he can give it, and Thor tells him no, it belongs to the dwarves. After handing over the axe, Thor turns back and tells Amadeus it seems that he's found his mind with his sister's help, so she'll be keeping an eye on them from now on, but for the sake of the realms, keep an eye on each other. Later, Amadeus and Maddie go back to their parents' grave, and after laying down some flowers, Amadeus tries to talk to Maddie. She just tells him to shut up. She knows. The two of them sit down, holding each other. Now, the next story after this is when we finally find out what Bruce Banner has been doing ever since Amadeus Cho took over. So if you want to read it yourself, go check out issue number 7. Otherwise, we'll wait for the story to end and cover it just like we did with this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter @ComicStory and Instagram @ComicStory. And I'll see you next time right here.
Okay, more of that. More complete story. Oh no, we've got Hulk versus Black Panther coming up next.
How is the new Hulk coping with the death of Bruce Banner?
Get some trousers done, and I'll do his jacket and his tails, like in the picture. Then I'll think about sticking his head on, and we'll see where we are there.
Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues, and I break them down for you into digestible bites, and then I read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panel, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Time passed during the events of the Second Civil War, and a news report goes out regarding the recent killing of Bruce Banner by the hero who killed him, Clint Barton. Maddie listens in as the news goes on, talking about how Bruce Banner's Hulk was a monster, and even with their new Hulk, can that new Hulk be trusted? As Amadeus lays in his bed, Maddie brings him some soup and tells him to eat. Amadeus says that he's fine, and Maddie tells him that she knows what he's thinking. He cured Bruce, and if he hadn't when Barton came for him, Bruce never would have died. She tells him that it's not his fault. The last time that they saw Bruce, he was really happy. Genuinely happy. That's what Amadeus did for him. And then the sound of the doorbell stops Maddie. The two of them go to check who it is, and as Amadeus opens the door, he says, I know it's not my fault. It's theirs. Outside the door, Carol Danvers is waiting with soldiers all pointing their guns. Amadeus asks her, should I be worried? And Carol tells him no. They just wanted to see how he was doing. Amadeus says that he's fine, and even with 14 different kinds of sensors running tests on me right now, I'm perfectly normal and stable. Who would have thunk? However, according to my readings, Agent Jake over there with the ultrasonic sensor rifle is about to have a heart attack. Carol tells him that he needs to be serious for a minute, and Amadeus asks, you want serious? You shot my best friend in the eye in cold blood. I know you had your prophecy guy telling you that Bruce was going to kill everyone someday, but he was cured and he was happy. Carol tells him that the person who shot Bruce was completely unauthorized, and he's been taken into custody and he's been tried. But Amadeus stops her, telling her that he knows that in his brain, but in his heart, it's a little different. Amadeus then tells him, I know you're worried that I'm going to be going all crazy. Even I would be worried. I'm just a 19-year-old kid. I'm young and confused. All I want to do is mourn for a little while. Is that okay? Maddie shouts out, of course it is. Now everyone get the hell out of here. And Jake reports that all signs remain normal. And Carol tells him, of course they are. I'm sorry for your loss. Contact me if you ever need me. Before leaving, Amadeus calls out to Carol and asks, if I was to go crazy, what makes you think you could stop me? Carol stares back, and then she watches Amadeus smile. And then she smiles and tells him to take care. A little while later, Amadeus is jumping through West Virginia while Carol watches from above in the shield helicarrier. Jake reports that his readings are going off the charts. He's just going crazy. Amadeus continues punching away, and a voice tells them they need to intervene right now. Carol continues to watch and then tells them to wait. There it is. On the screen, they see the message, made you look, punched into the ground. Soon, Amadeus' levels return to normal, and Carol says they should back off for a bit. And a voice tells her, yes, she needs to back off. And then T'Challa says, I'll take it from here. A short while later, T'Challa takes off in his jet, and Agent Jake tells him that it's seriously an honor to come with him on this mission. He's read every debrief about all of T'Challa's missions. And T'Challa stops him, stating, I've read about you too, how you served under James Rhodes. James Rhodes, who was just killed in one of Carol's missions. So maybe you might be mad at her. And on the other hand, I nearly killed James in the first war between the heroes. So maybe you're mad at me. So what is it that you think you're doing here? Jake stops for a minute, and then he says, he joined S.H.I.E.L.D. because he believes that there are some problems in the world that can't be solved without force. And the Hulk may be one of those problems. He also believes that the force should be the last resort. He doesn't want to see Amadeus end up like James. T'Challa tells him that he speaks to the king of Wakanda. Every moment of his conscious life, he has to weigh the consequences of fighting and failing to fight. So, with the lives of thousands in the balance, does he really think that he has something to contribute to that? Jake then says, he's a soldier, the kind of grunt who has to deal with those decisions made by kings. So yes, sir, he does. T'Challa and Jake go back to monitoring Amadeus, and they continue to read that his readings are normal. And then they see him write the word buy and ketchup on the table. And then all of the monitors suddenly go out. Out on the road, Amadeus races down the street when a shadow begins to form over him. And Maddie yells that he needs to stop. She's been watching his movements and she knows where he's heading. So what the hell is he thinking? He tells her that Barton killed Bruce. And Maddie adds, because Bruce told him to. Everyone saw the video played at the trial. Amadeus shouts, he wasn't in control. I cured him. There's no way that Bruce would have turned into the Hulk again. And Maddie asks, what is he going to do when he finds Barton? Amadeus tells her, I'll figure that out when I see him. Maddie begins to get reports that there is a new monster sighted in Austin, Texas. And it's a job for the Hulk, so they need to head. Amadeus stops her, telling her not to distract him. Besides, he's already tracking a monster, so send Carol Danvers to Austin. Later that night, Amadeus swims through the ocean until he arrives on a beach. As he walks through the woods, he finds a cabin, and inside, Clint Barton is sitting eating his cereal when the door swings open and Amadeus is standing there. Clint tells him, I know you're angry. And Amadeus begins to change into the Hulk. And he tells him, you have no idea. Clint tells him, I thought so. And then he begins to fade, and T'Challa is standing in his place. Amadeus shouts, where's Barton? And T'Challa tells him, nowhere that you're going to find him. Outside of the cabin, barriers start to close off the area, and Amadeus manages to jump out just as they're closing. As he does, T'Challa jumps after him in his own Hulkbuster armor, firing a sonic gun. Amadeus pulls back and releases a powerful clap that sends the suit flying. Jake reports that the gamma levels are spiking, and next T'Challa fires a spore cloud to try and knock out Amadeus. Through the smoke, Amadeus punches back, and then he runs over stating, I didn't come here to fight. And T'Challa tells him, then you need to surrender. Amadeus tells him, you have no right to make this demand. I didn't do anything. I just came here too. And T'Challa reaches out and grabs onto him. He tells Amadeus that the armor absorbs and magnifies energy, so the more he fights, the stronger that T'Challa is going to get. T'Challa goes on stating, you can surrender. But then the radio goes off as Maddie calls in. Amadeus tells her that he's fine, and she tells him, well, she's not. She's in Texas, and they have a big problem. Just 15 minutes before Maddie made her call, the streets of Austin were filled with people, in particular one boy who was watching the people. He watches how everyone is happy, and how boring that is. The boy then cuts the string off the child's balloon, and as the child cries, he says, well, that's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And then he begins to change. As the people begin to run, an explosion goes off. And back in Arkansas, the struggle between Amadeus and T'Challa continues as T'Challa pins Amadeus down. While Amadeus is trying to fight back, Maddie continues telling him what's going on out in Texas. Soon the rage begins to run through Amadeus, and he rips off one of the suit's arms. T'Challa shouts for Jake to teleport him out. But Jake says that the energy coming off of him, it's like, wait, he set off a mini EMP. As the Hulkbuster loses power, Amadeus begins jumping away. And over in Texas, Maddie tries to fight off the giant bug creature. The monster tells her that she's all locked up, totally under control. So he swings at her again and he tells her,
How about you feel some fear? Maybe grief? How about anger?
The creature then notices a woman trying to run away and he slashes away at her chest. Once the woman falls, the child begins to cry and the creature says,
That's what I'm looking for.
Maddie manages to shock the creature and tells Amadeus that the creature is some kind of emotional leech. So if you want to beat it, you need to control yourself. The creature jumps back up, slashing towards Maddie and knocking her down. And he tells her,
Yes, you're finally losing it. I love that anger.
Suddenly a shadow appears overhead and Amadeus comes crashing down onto the creature. The two start punching away at each other and the creature tells him,
This is so good.
With the emotion that Amadeus is going through, the creature slowly begins to get larger and it cuts down on Amadeus' face. Maddie shouts to stop. All you're doing is feeding him. And Amadeus tells her, I know. And soon Amadeus turns the struggle and throws the creature onto his back, punching him harder and deeper into the ground. He shouts, No one can stop me. I'm the strongest that there is. Then soon the creature calls out,
Yes, pride. I love it.
Once the creature stands back up, it starts swinging its claws, cutting into Amadeus. And as blood begins to drip from his wounds, Amadeus stands in shock, and then he falls over. The creature reaches out and grabs a hold of the child from there and begins walking down the alleyway. Maddie chases after her, but the creature is gone. And Amadeus starts to get back up, and Maddie then says, What are you going to listen? T'Challa and Jake then make their way to the scene, and Amadeus tells them, Please. Help me. Amadeus begins to change back into his human form, stating, That monster took the kid. We need to find. And suddenly a laser is fired out, hitting Amadeus. T'Challa looks back, and Jake says they have to stick to the plan. They have to send him into the negative zone. Maddie begins to shout, What? No, we don't have time for this. Everyone's going to have to suck it up and work together. T'Challa and Jake help the woman up, and T'Challa agrees to help. And Amadeus and Maddie get back to work trying to figure out what their next move is. As they look into the alleyway, they see a crack in the ground, and Maddie says that the monster just changed size. Amadeus looks and says that it's an irregular shaft about 10 inches wide at its narrowest, which means him and Maddie are the only ones who can fit. T'Challa tells him, Fine, but no fighting. I'll give you orbs so we can track you while I find another way down. Soon, Amadeus and Maddie start making their way down, and Jake radios in that the subject's name is Christian Sung. He's a music student from Johnson State and has no criminal record. As they get further down in the hole, Maddie begins to notice that the passage is a little too narrow for her, and then she realizes that Amadeus did that on purpose. Once he jumps down into the sewer, he tells her exactly, and he runs off ahead. He then turns the corner and he sees Christian holding the screaming child. Christian says that the child is very, very scared, and Amadeus tells him, yeah, we should get him back to his mother. Christian then says, I like scared, but it's getting boring, and he holds the child over the ledge. Amadeus tells him that they all just need to calm down. And Christian says, I know all about you and the fact that you're the Hulk. I know all about the anger, fear, pride, the emotions inside of you. So I'm going to kill as many people as I can just to see what I can get out of you. Suddenly, Christian releases the child, but before the child can land, T'Challa jumps through, catching him. Amadeus changes back into the Hulk, and he grabs a hold of Christian, and he tells Jake to activate the negative zone teleporter. Jake begins working away, and then Maddie overrides his computer, telling him that he will not be sending him because that will also send Amadeus with him. Amadeus struggles with Christian and tells her, I have to do it. And Maddie tells him no, but Amadeus tells her, shut up and just let me do it. Maddie finally falls through the cracks, and then Christian focuses his attention towards her. She begins firing her gun, changing her emotions, and Christian shouts, so good! And then Maddie shouts, now! And Christian suddenly stops, and then a light shines as the teleporter takes him away. Amadeus says, that was amazing. And Maddie says, yeah, okay then, bye. Amadeus asks where she's going, and she stops and turns and tells him, I'm done with all of this. Every time you say you're learning or you're getting a little bit better, you just fall back down. So I'm not going to be your enabler because you might hurt someone someday. I don't want to hear any more excuses. You should never become the Hulk. A week passes, and Amadeus finally manages to track down the man that he's been looking for, Clint Barton. As he walks into the diner, he tells him that he shouldn't be alone. It's dangerous for him. And Clint says that he really doesn't know what he wants, but he did kill Bruce for good reasons. He's been thinking about those reasons over and over ever since then. Amadeus smashes his fist down and he says that he told Carol that she couldn't stop him if he wanted to kill Clint. No one can stop him. Not her, not S.H.I.E.L.D., not even his sister. It felt good to look her in the eyes and tell her that. Rather, actually know that. Like, I'm in charge. As Clint sits without saying a word, Amadeus changes back, stating, all I really want is my friend back. I shouldn't even be here. Bruce wouldn't have wanted this. He would have said everything's going to be okay. And Amadeus looks at Clint, but I'm not okay. Not even a little bit. Clint looks at him, and tears begin to stream down his face. And he tells him, neither am I. Amadeus begins to cry with him, and the two of them just sit there. And that brings us to the conclusion of how Amadeus dealt with the death of Bruce Banner. But he's not the only Hulk out there. If you want to know what's happening with She-Hulk, go pick up the latest Hulk. But it's time for us to move on to another Civil War II storyline. If you enjoyed this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and I'll see you next time right here at the Comic Historian channel.
We go next. Immortal Hulk.
Smash! Or Betty Smash. Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks, single issues, video games, and movies, and I break them down into complete stories, telling you what happened, allowing you to use your free time how you choose, but still be caught up on your favorite video games, comic books, and movies. Today, we're going to be continuing the storyline of the Immortal Hulk, the Horror Hulk storyline. And if you don't know what's going on, a while ago, Hulk died. He got brought back to life during No Surrender, and now we're in a weird mode where Bruce Banner can't seem to die because the Hulk lives forever. Enjoy the story. With news of Hulk being sighted across the United States, Arizona Herald reporter Jackie McGee visits the last known place where Bruce Banner has been seen, South Dakota. She sits down with the different members of the community to get their take on what happened when they ran into the Hulk. The first person, the cop, says that he's got a story for her. They just got a call about a crime in progress at the old church at Mercer Avenue. What they didn't expect, though, was Hotshot, the human ray gun. Hotshot disarmed them, and they needed themselves a real hero to handle things. Next up was the bartender. He recalled an event when Bruce came into his bar. He looked out of a serial killer. He got angry about something, and then when he saw something going on at Mercer Avenue on TV, he grabbed a knife. Obviously, he was like, whoa! And then he ran out the door. The next person was an old lady. Her view of things were a little, different than what others saw. She was at a church when Hotshot came in. When he burst in, he shouted that his love was dying. The priest said that he needed to turn himself in, and then he yelled that nobody understands love. The boy really did look like James Dean, though. Finally, Jackie visits the priest to get his side of the story. Unlike what the old woman said, he could somewhat understand what Hotshot was saying when he broke into the church. He was clearly upset, stating that the devil was inside of his girlfriend. Something about something underneath below everything got into her and they needed an exorcism or something. He then went back to it, stating something about a door below, a green door below. What does it even mean? The cops arrived, stated they would get someone to negotiate, but at that point, Hotshot started to lose it. He asked God for salvation. The answer he said, it was big, it was green, and it was angry. The old woman goes on stating that it was horrible. The giant beast came in and broke the hands of that handsome young man. The cop continues the story, stating that after the Hulk literally disarmed Hotshot, Hotshot still had more tricks up his sleeve. The priest said, oh God, he couldn't look away. He could see right through him. His chest was ripped wide open. They all waited for him to fall, but instead the hole just regrew itself, and the look on his face. The boy said what everyone was thinking. It's you. You're the shadow. You're the one below all, the devil himself. The cop laughs, asking, you know what the big guy said? The Hulk said, you're damn right. And he clobbered him good. The next part, the next part wasn't so fun. The priest says that he and the officer went to the motel where the boy was staying. He saw the body. She was smiling at them when they went in. It was a peaceful smile. Green door was written on the wall. He wasn't able to pray since that day. What does that mean? Lastly, the old woman finishes her story, stating that she would visit the young man, and he said that it wasn't him who killed her. He did tie her to the chair because her power was out of control. He would never. She was alive when he left. He loved her. You just gotta believe him. As it turned out, the young man found a way to hang himself in his cell. Such a tragedy. T? Jackie sighs as she sits back in her chair, asking what she's supposed to do with all of this. 3 people with 3 stories, all of them the same story, though. They just have different perspectives as to what happened, and at the center of it all, the Hulk. She receives a call from an unknown number. She picks it up. The voice in the other line states, this is Jacqueline McGee from the Arizona Herald. She asks, who is it? The man says, Walter Lakowski. He works for Alpha Flight, the International Space Team, or he did. Anyway, he's been reading her recent articles, and it would seem that she's the only person actively looking for Bruce Banner, apart from him, that is. Why? Well, Bruce is an old college buddy of his. He wants him to know, if they're being totally honest here, he could use her particular expertise. Right, exactly. There's something that he wants her to take a look at. Several days later at a bus station in South Dakota, Jackie McGee sits telling her boss no, they cannot change the pricing. They were the ones who broke the story. Now everyone's sniffing green blood in the air. If they want to stay in the race, it's not enough to just chase Banner. They need him. No, this has nothing to do with what happened back then. Look, if they can't get Banner, the next best thing is his college roommate. Just then Walter walks up with a suitcase stating, hi, I'm Walter, or Sasquatch if you prefer. Carried in his own hairy Alpha Hulk turned space diplomat. and Bruce Banner's college roommate. Pleasure to meet you all. Jackie gets up shaking Walter's hand, stating that she's sorry. She was just speaking to her editor, and there was a fresh Hulk sighting. Walter laughs, telling her, I guess we're going to be doing this on the move. What do you want to know first? As the two jump in the car, Jackie asks how about they start with how Walter and Bruce Banner met. Walter tells her, well, it was at Penn State. Bruce transferred there for a semester since they have lab facilities that the Desert State didn't have. Jackie asks, Gamma facilities? And Walter laughs, yeah. Even back then, Bruce is all about that thing. Bruce needed a research assistant, and there I was, a football scholarship and a head for physics. We got along like a house on fire. Sure, we had some disagreements every once in a while, but his mother died and his father was in an institute, so he held a lot in. One day he even gave all of his clothes to Goodwill and bought 10 identical suits like Einstein did. Never understood why they were purple pants, though. Well, time passed and eventually it happened. Bruce had done it. The atomic scientist had become the Hulk. That's when things began to get serious. Long story short, I quit football and I made it my mission to duplicate what Bruce did. Ever been hit by a gamma bomb? It's a real trip. Jackie asks, a trip, huh? And then remembers back to when she was a little girl and her father told her not to look. Do not look him in the eye. Except she did. Walter then says that he knows that look in her eye, and that's why he did what he did. The thinking was that his Hulk could counter Bruce's Hulk. Bruce had brains and no strength, where he had strength and not so much brains. It was supposed to be a deterrent for Canada, for the world really, but his personality would remain in control. If she couldn't tell, he's a pretty laid-back guy, not prone to anger. He went north to do some testing, and the controlled gamma bombardment did something they didn't expect, something outside conventional science. It opened something, a kind of door. A world of beasts and demons. One of them got into him. Tanarak. It was a long time ago, and Tanarak's dead, and I'm in control of Sasquatch now, really. A few moments later, the two pull up to the scene of a 3-car pileup, and Walter says, it looks like the Hulk School of Vehicle Maintenance showed up. Jackie begins to take pictures, stating, okay, we gotta look for a bar. Bruce is always getting his information from bars. A short while later, Jackie holds up a photo of Bruce, and the waitress says, yeah, that's him. Asking all sorts of questions about Noah Swanson. Jackie says, she spoke with one of the officers and Noah was a meth dealer. It's his van out there mashed up with all his cars, isn't it? As Jackie interviews the waitress, a fight then begins to break out with two of the bar patrons. Walter hurries over to separate the two of them, asking what's going on. What's got them all riled up on such a nice day? The man with the bandage on his nose says, him! He knows all about it. Walter turns and asks the second man what he's talking about. But while Walter is looking in the other direction, the man with the bandage pulls out a knife and he stabs Walter in the back. Walter falls to the ground, and the man with the bandage shouts that he didn't mean to. The second man yells that they gotta go, they just killed the man. And later in the hospital, Jackie gives the detective the details as to what happened. The detective jots down her statement and asks if she can remember anything else. Be sure to call them. And if she does find Bruce Banner, they would like to talk to him as well. The detective walks off, and Jackie sighs, stating, yeah, she would too. Just then a man sits down next to her, stating, good timing then, here I am. What happened to Walter? Jackie sits right up in her seat, not making eye contact with Bruce Banner. She says that Walter's in surgery. He was stabbed while they were looking for him. What are you doing here, Mr. Banner? Bruce tells her that he followed a hunch. All humans emit radiation. Simple biophonics, really. Barely measurable. But the gamma affected, they have unique signatures. Walter's is just like his. Jackie asks, so you can sense him? And Bruce says, no, but he can. Inside the operating room, the doctor stops working and says that he's going to call it time of, oh my God. Walter's body begins to change into Sasquatch, and Bruce tells her, it's nighttime now, and nighttime is his time. You need to evacuate the hospital now. The doctors all huddled together, stating, oh God, above. But Sasquatch stops them, stating, God above? No, quite the reverse. Jackie says, wait a minute, I got questions for you. You owe me. Bruce tells her, yeah, I owe a lot of people, something from stolen pants to ruined lives. Where you fall on that spectrum will have to wait. Yeah, what are you going to do? Tell people to run from a man who's risen from the dead? Why would anyone believe you? Just then screaming can be heard from the operating room, and Bruce tells her, you're a reporter. It's your job to make people believe you. Besides, screaming will probably help. He pushes open the doors to the operating room and says, hello, Walter. Can we talk? Sasquatch lips the blood from his claws and he looks back. I am not Walter. He swipes, cutting Bruce's throat, telling him, and I would rather talk to the real you. Bruce falls on the ground with Sasquatch asking, it hurts to die, doesn't it? Bruce coughs up blood, telling him, always. But as the Hulk comes out, he says, you heard Banner. I take it personally. He jumps up, punching Sasquatch, telling him, you're not Lekowski. That fits. Lekowski's a creep. Smug little know-it-all. The Hulk throws Sasquatch through a wall, finishing, but Lekowski never had 3 murders in him. You're something else, aren't you? See, nobody's ever loved Walt for his mind. He only wanted the jock. He only feels needed when he's a furry. Stays that way for months. Am I getting warm? Sasquatch thrusts his claws into the Hulk's chest, telling him, very clever little monster. Hulk pulls out Sasquatch's arm, telling him, Lekowski stayed Sasquatch too long. Left the door open and you got in. In through a green door. You got into Hotshot's girlfriend too, didn't you? What was that about? Why did you want my attention? What are you? Tesseract and Mephisto? Something worse? Who's in there? Sasquatch laughs, telling him, look in the mirror behind you. Hulk starts to look back, stating, real original. And when he looks, he sees himself holding Brian Banner, Bruce Banner's father. Hulk pauses. It says, Daddy. Brian lashes out the Hulk.
Just a second, why swap over stuff? Alexa, stop.
What happens at the beginning? Those brilliant intuitive leaps. From the day you were born, it was you. The monster inside. I should have killed you while you slept in the crib. Sasquatch slams Hulk into a wall and Hulk tells him, it's not him. It can't be. And Brian tells him, you see the ghosts and smell eyes, don't you? You'd know if it wasn't true. I'm the father that Bruce killed. Back through the green door. Back from death. Brian jabs his claws into the Hulk's stomach, asking, how does it feel? That's the proof. Who else would hurt you like this? Who else would make the monster scared? Hulk shouts, no, never! And he kicks Brian in the face. Hulk gets up telling him, you're just a man who killed his wife and tried to kill his son. You scare Banner. You think that gives you power over me? You think that makes you special?
Alexa, set 15 minutes on the timer.
15 minutes, starting now.
Any power you have, someone gave you. Who? Who brought you back? Who opened the door? Tell me or I'll smash. Brian starts to get up, stating that it needs a host personality to work in this world. It burrows in, wears our souls like masks on a stage. Help me. Hulk shouts, asking, what does that mean? What's behind you? Hulk punches again, and Brian catches the hit, telling him, every light casts a shadow. Every mirror there is a reflection. As above, as below. He stabs his claws into the Hulk's eyes, telling him, take a look. You'll see darker shadows than your own. He continues ripping into the Hulk, asking, how many do you have to? And then he stops and he feels something shoot into his arm. He looks back to see a security officer with a taser and says, well, boy, there's one more. He whips his arm back, tearing through the security guard, telling Jackie, remember this. It's the monster's fault. He holds his arms up to swipe at Jackie, but the Hulk grabs him, stating, Gamma. Gamma is what made Lekowski what he is. Keeps the green door open, doesn't it? But the difference between me and you, I eat Gamma. Hulk grabs onto his body, absorbing all of the gamma radiation until Sasquatch begins to revert into Walter. As Jackie helps lay Walter out, Hulk says that he just took all of Lekowski's radiation. No more Sasquatch, no more Dad, or whatever that was. She checks his pulse and says that the Hulk saved him. The Hulk rubs his eyes, telling her, shut up. You're at the local paper and you drove over how many states and you can't even look Banner in the face? Yeah, I noticed. Whatever this is to you, whatever he owes you, is personal. The truth now. She looks back, stating that when she was 15, the Hulk destroyed her home, her neighborhood. They said to never look him in the eye, but she did. And she has questions. He stares for a moment in silence and tells her, boy, one question, make it quick. She gets up asking her one question. How does she do it? How does she get to be what he is? He stares back for a few seconds and then turns, telling her, just go home. As he leaves the hospital, he looks at his reflection in the car window. And what he sees is Brian Banner.
Nope, didn't work. I'm still half asleep, but I hope you enjoyed the Hulk video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel as we are bringing you a lot of Immortal Hulk to catch you up on the Hulk smashing things, because it's what he does. Very soon the Hulk's going to be going to hell, so if you subscribe, turn on those notifications with that little bell. You'll know when videos come out, because we give you videos a lot around here, nearly daily. But so, I got nothing else. Please subscribe, hang out with us, have a good time. See you next time right here. Coffee!
Devil Hulk versus the Avengers.
The Hulk is a character that was originally based on the concepts of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, a very horror-themed idea, but over time he became just a big green guy that punches stuff. Recently, we've had a new storyline starting up with the recent Marvel run that is a classic Hulk kind of horror situation. During the day, Bruce Banner gets to be around, but at night, that's the Hulk's time. And he has been going out with a vengeance to kill individuals that deserve it or to pretty much torture them. It's been very dark, very twisted. Well, since we started this storyline a little while ago here, one question you probably have in your mind is, what happens when this new immortal Hulk meets the Avengers? Well, we get the Devil Hulk. If you just found yourself wandering into our channel, this is the Comic Story channel where we bring you the complete story series. We take some of your favorite comic books, video games, and movies, and we break them down into digestible bites, reading them back to you in a format similar to an audio narrative drama. We throw on music, I act out some of the voices, and we have a lot of fun here. So if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing to our channel, giving this video a like, and sharing it with your friends, and I'll see you at the ending of this video. In our last video, Bruce fought against his former friend and college roommate, Sasquatch. After a grueling fight between Hulk and Sasquatch, Hulk learned that what got inside of Sasquatch was Bruce Banner's father, Brian Banner, who came back through the Green Door. As the two fought, Hulk absorbed the gamma radiation from Walter, turning him back into a human. But in turn, he absorbed Brian Banner. Now he sits at the edge of his motel bed, and he thinks back to the first time that he died. He couldn't stop screaming, so he got back up. Something inside him was unlocked. A dark opposite, a shadow self. The person was stronger than him, stronger than anyone really, even too strong for death to claim. The thing is, Bruce Banner can die, but only during the day. The problem is, when night comes, he drags him back. Bruce stares at the mirror, watching the Hulk beat against the glass, trying to break out as he drinks his coffee, thinking, well, that's new. It's been 2 days since the fight with Walter, and he hasn't dared to let him out since. Hulk defeated Sasquatch, draining Walter's gamma radiation, but he's been starting to suspect that something else came with that. He needs to talk to the Hulk, but he can't just let him free. So now it's probably time to try something new. Bruce grabs a piece of paper and a pen, and he closes his eyes, emptying his mind, letting the pen move on its own. Bruce's hand slowly begins to scribble down something, and when his hand comes to a stop, he opens up his eyes. He reads the word home. And he asks the Hulk, what does that even mean? Where's home? Meanwhile, in California, Betty Ross watches the news as the reporter explains that social media has been abuzz with its latest sighting of the Hulk. She turns the TV off, wiping away the tears, stating, just stop. Her husband isn't back from the dead. If he was, why wouldn't he have let her know? That Hulk can't be Bruce Banner. But elsewhere in an undisclosed location, a group of monitors watch all people, living or dead, that Bruce has ever sought out to for help. One of the guys monitoring states that this is kind of creepy. This one just isn't a civilian. It's General Ross's daughter, the boss of our boss. It feels like the voice of General 14. It tells the group of monitors that everyone on the screens in front of them is not civilians. They are not friendlies. They've all given aid and comfort to the Hulk before, and that makes them an enemy. As you were. As 14 closes the door, Dr. Clive sips his drink, asking, would Ross mind if he knew? 14 tells him that it is not Ross' business to know. The general was too close to Banner, and right now, he understands that. But it is best for Ross to focus on Steve Rogers' situation and leave the Hulk operations to a trusted second-in-command such as himself. As the two walk into the next room, a giant test tube glows green as Del Fry's body floats in it. And Clive asks how's their little buddy today. Clive's assistant, Charlene, says that it's been the same since they dug him out of that grave. His pain receptors are still off the charts. He's in agony. If they would take some adjustments to the tank, they could possibly reduce them, eliminate them even. Clive takes another drink, stating, yeah, except recalibrating the system would take days. And what would that get them? Forget his little fee-fees. Where are they at on replicating him? Another tech, Jay, says, not much. They're pretty sure that what caused this in his blood, some kind of gamma serum. Well, it's like cracking a code in a dead language. Clive sips more of his drink, telling 14, see, we can't make progress without an actual Hulk, but not just the Hulk. A Hulk, like Joe or Walters. People might actually miss them. 14 thinks for a second and then he asks, what about Sasquatch? A short while later, over the Alpha Flight space station, Walters sits up from his bed as Carol walks in, stating that she just got off the phone with General 14. He's currently in charge of the U.S. Hulk operations, ex-USAF like her, and he played that card a lot, building up a rapport. He's a very charming man who very charmingly threatened him with legal injection, after extradition and trial, of course. For what it's worth, he was very apologetic. He'd love to make it all go away. Pip scoffs. He bets. But what does he get in return? Carol says that's the thing. If her team secures Banner for the proper authorities, Walter's exonerated. If I say no, they're going to take him. Shaman then asks how are they supposed to defeat the Hulk? Carol tells him not this team, her other team. Back on Earth, Bruce walks down the road thinking, we really are going home. My home, that is. It makes perfect sense. We're going to the place where I'm the strongest to defeat whatever it is that's inside of us.
As Bruce holds out his thumb at a passing car, he realizes that the light coming towards him isn't a car. Bruce looks up to see Carol, and he says, "Hello, always a pleasure, or this business. The Avengers have been very good at leaving me alone since I came back." Carol stares, stating that the Hulk helped save the world. It earned him some rope. This is a very different set of Avengers. If she's being honest, the rope's about to run out. As other members of the Avengers appear, Jennifer looks at Bruce rather disappointed as she starts to change into the She-Hulk, stating, "You're disappointed? I almost died. I was in a coma, and when I woke up, I found out that you killed yourself. You knew what that would do to me. You forced my friend, had to guilt Clint Barton into doing it. You knew what that would do to." Thor grabs Jennifer by the shoulder, telling her, "Control yourself." Jennifer says the Hulk knows. She knows. Carol places her hands on her hips, stating that they're not here to hurt him, but he's going to come with them. And Bruce asks, "Right now? You sure about that? The sun is down." Carol tells him yes, they know about his patterns. Every sighting has been the same. The night is his time. And in order to set the Hulk free, Bruce Banner has to die. Bruce grits his teeth, stating, "That's my secret. I'm already dead." As soon as Bruce finishes, his body begins to change and it begins to grow. The Hulk lunges forward, cracking Thor across the face with enough force to knock a tooth out of the mouth of a god. Thor stumbles back, stating, "By Odin." And Hulk tells him, "Daddy can't help you now." Captain America leaps in front of Thor, protecting him from another hit, but the Hulk punches the shield, stating, "Look, it's Captain Hydra. If I rip your head off, are two more going to come out?" Captain America struggles, holding the Hulk back, stating that wasn't him. Black Panther leaps onto the Hulk's shoulders, telling him, "Perhaps this will bring you to your senses." And he shocks the Hulk in the head. Iron Man readies the Hulkbuster suit, stating, "Let's hope. If not, I got a big gun parked about 10,000 feet away." Black Panther leaps off as Iron Man fires into the Hulk, yelling, "Some weapons should be a last resort, and Code Helios is one of them." Captain America helps Thor to his feet, asking if he's okay. He's never seen him get hit that hard. Thor slowly struggles to get up, stating, "He's stronger than he was, vastly so. I've seen naked men of souls, smell the lies of their hearts, hidden even from themselves." Captain America says, "You might have a concussion. You're rambling a lot. Lies don't have a smell." And Thor asks, "Are you sure? You live in the mortal world, one of science and law. Where I come from, I live in a world of legend and symbol, the world of the gods. What I'm suggesting is that in its rage, its pain, in the shadow of its Armageddon, your mortal world may have produced something very close to a god, or a devil perhaps." The Hulk laughs. "Ha ha ha! Devil Hulk works for me." The Hulk then thrusts both of his hands into the Hulkbuster suit, stunning it, and the computer inside tells Iron Man that he needs to eject. The Hulk rips the arms off of the suit and continues to beat on it, trapping Iron Man inside. Black Panther tries to pry open the suit, shouting, "That is enough! Iron Man will die unless we get him out of that. This man is my friend." Hulk asks, "Friend?" And then he takes the Hulkbuster suit, smacking Black Panther with it. Iron Man yells that he needs to use the manual release, and he shoots off into the sky, holding the helmet of the Hulkbuster. As he goes up higher, he tells everyone that he's unlocking the big gun. But Carol yells that there are civilians down there. He tells her that the civilians are going to be out of the area thanks to Alpha Flight transports, right? And Carol tells him, "Maybe so, but these are the homes of hundreds of people, Tony." Captain America radios in, stating, "I'm with Carol with this one. Let's leave Code Helios until we're out of options. We still have one last chance." Just then Jennifer transforms, charging in, punching the Hulk, yelling, "Hulk smash! Bruce hurt Jen, hurt his friends, so now, Hulk catches the punch, getting up, telling her,
why does
"You're
everyone have to
mad.
fucking
And
do
the matter
this?"
You get right? Funny how that works. I was everything Banner wanted to hide. Everything he wanted to pretend he wasn't. You were everything Walters wanted to show the world. Only now the line between us is harder to see, ain't it? What do you think, Hulk?" Hulk's smile widens and She-Hulk yells, "No, Hulk is not. I'm not like you." Hulk laughs, "Huh, gotcha." Then there's a booming wham as She-Hulk is knocked across the small town. And Iron Man radios in, stating, "He'll kill someone soon, Carol. I swear to God, that's how this ends." Carol states that there are no life signs in range. But Iron Man, this isn't, he tells her. "It's settled. Cross your fingers because we only got one shot at this." Carol calls out over the comms, "Don't do it." And Iron Man tells her, "We have no choice. System screen, firing the Helios laser." As he
Didn't
hits the
work
switch,
out,
the
everything's
giant
too
floating
soft,
laser
so I'm
begins
gonna have to
charge,
restart
and then it
everything.
fires
Can you
a
take a
cloud
5-minute break?
piercing
You can
blast
listen to
from the
that.
sky. A short while later, as the dust begins to settle, Captain America looks down at the charred remains of Bruce Banner, telling Black Panther that this isn't right. He only hoped that it didn't hurt too much. Iron Man's projection tells him that it most definitely did. The Helios laser was laced with UV radiation. Effectively, it was a beam of hard sunlight. It was the only thing that we had on hand that could hurt this new Devil Hulk. Captain America says not to call him that. That wasn't the devil. That was my friend. And you killed him. Black Panther then says that this is only a temporary measure. Bruce Banner may not be dead, but I suspect that without these UV drones, the Hulk will rise again. Ghost Rider and his vehicle are healed, but Thor's fractured skull will need further treatment. As for Jennifer, she's alive and relatively uninjured. But she won't say what it was that the Hulk said to her. Iron Man adds, let's not forget, he almost killed me. Black Panther turns away, stating that without the Helios weapon, without this sacrifice, they'd be buried by their own dead tonight. My conscience remains clear. Captain America looks back at Bruce's body, stating, that's good for you, Your Highness. We got another problem anyway. We beat him. We've got him. Now what do we do? Later, inside of Dr. Clive's lab, Dr. Clive asks, what could be done? There were protocols. Even the Avengers can't fight City Hall. So Ross handed you to Secretary Ross, having delegated command of the Hulk operation, passed you straight onto us.
Okay, guys.
We made you nice and comfy in time for the next sunset. Welcome to Shadow Base, Banner.
Okay, guys, that completely messed up because I leant it up against my cup here. Everything, all the detail that I put on the front of the jacket and stuff, you just saw me take all off again because it was all messed up. I had a massive great line right across that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it all off stream now, guys, because you've seen how I'm going to be making it. Come back tomorrow because I want to do this off stream and take my time with it instead of having to do it all in 50 to an hour a minute. It's going to take me at least a couple hours to get all this detail on and get it nicely baked. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bake each single time. So I can't do that on stream, guys. So I'm going to say sorry that I can't finish this on stream for you. Don't forget to tune in for the PS4 recording, and I will be back tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for watching today's stream. But it seems to have gone flop. There's another 50 minutes, or 15 minutes that I thought I'd try and get it all done by. I couldn't get it done by, so I'm going to be doing this off stream. I will record this. Click the links that will appear if you want to see what's going on, how we did this picture. Well, until then, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.